All right, welcome to this explainer. Right now, it feels like literally the entire world is obsessed with large language models, right? I mean, every single day there's a new tech CEO claiming this tech is about to overtake human intelligence. But what if the very foundation of this current AI boom actually has a built-in ceiling? Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of reporting from Wired all about David Silver. Now, if you don't know the name, you absolutely know his work. Back in 2016, Silver created AlphaGo at Google DeepMind. It was a total watershed moment. AlphaGo shocked everyone by teaching itself the insanely complex game of Go, and then it actually defeated the world champion, Lee Sedol. And it didn't just win, it came up with completely novel, almost alien moves that no human had even imagined in the thousands of years we've been playing the game. Fast forward to today, and Silver's coming forward with a pretty shocking premise. The current generative AI boom we're living through, it's fundamentally limited. And because of that, he's basically betting everything on a radically different path to true superintelligence. Silver frames this whole situation using an incredibly powerful metaphor. He argues that current LLMs rely entirely on human-generated data. They scrape the text, the books, and the websites that we created. Silver calls all of this data a fossil fuel. And yeah, it provides an amazing shortcut. Right now, it's fueling all these incredible chatbots and applications, but it is ultimately a finite resource. Think about it. Once you burn through literally all the text humans have ever written, what comes next? On the flip side, he says self-learning systems are closer to renewable energy. Because they teach themselves through constant trial and error, they can learn endlessly. They just aren't boxed in by the boundaries of what we humans already know.
Which brings us to Section 1, Limits of Current AI. To really grasp this massive shift in thinking, we have to look at exactly why today's headline-grabbing language models have this fundamental limitation. The current industry standard, the LLMs, are completely dependent on human data. They are amazing mimics, for sure. They can synthesize tons of info, write poetry, code, all based on patterns they've seen. But they aren't actively building their own intelligence from scratch. They're trapped inside our existing knowledge base, acting as that finite fossil fuel. David Silver's vision, however, relies on reinforcement learning. This is the paradigm of self-teaching systems. Instead of just copying us, these systems learn endlessly, acting as that renewable energy we talked about. In fact, Silver actually left his position at Google DeepMind to pursue this. And that's a big deal, especially since he's lifelong friends with DeepMind CEO Dimas Hassabis. But Silver felt that working in a corner of an organization that's so heavily focused on LLMs just wasn't enough. He believes we absolutely need a world-class AI lab that is 100% focused on this renewable, self-teaching approach.
To really hammer home why relying solely on human data is a problem, Silver offers this brilliant thought experiment. Imagine you deployed a massive language model with all the mind-boggling computing power we have today. But you did it centuries ago, back when the entire human population firmly believed the Earth was flat. All the data, all the books, all the scholarly articles of that specific time would explicitly tell the AI that the world is flat. The result? That AI would remain a devoted flat earther. Even if the system constantly optimized its own code, even if it read those exact same texts billions of times, it could never actually deduce the true shape of the Earth. Why? Well, because an LLM cannot interact with physical reality. It can't go build a telescope, it can't conduct its own experiments, it only regurgitates the consensus of the data it was fed. So the absolute crucial point here is this. If an AI cannot interact with the world and learn for itself, it can never discover new scientific truths that we humans haven't already figured out.
Section 2, the Reinforcement Learning Era.
That thought experiment really makes the problem crystal clear, doesn't it? So, what is the definitive solution for achieving true superintelligence? Well, this whole concept isn't just some sudden fad. It's actually a decades-long scientific mission that's finally reaching its climax. The idea that a computer could learn from experience goes all the way back to the 1950s, with Alan Turing's early computing concepts. Then, by the 1980s, researchers like Richard Sutton and Andrew Bartow developed the foundational algorithms for reinforcement learning. Fun fact, Sutton, who was actually one of Silver's mentors, won the prestigious ACM Turing Award in 2025 for this exact foundational work. Then, in 2016, Silver used these concepts to create AlphaGo, proving the theory works in the real world. And now, in 2026, he's founded a brand new startup called Ineffable Intelligence to take this to the absolute ultimate level, achieving first contact with true superintelligence.
Let's clearly define what this actually is. Reinforcement learning is an algorithmic approach where AI learns via trial and error. It creates its own, completely unique paths to achieve specific goals, rather than just copying human data. Silver compares the current state of AI to pre-Darwinian biology. Think about it. Before Charles Darwin, plenty of people were studying animals and trying to understand life. but there was no underlying unifying theory to explain how it all actually worked. Silver believes reinforcement learning is that unifying theory for intelligence. It is the core mechanism that allows an AI to break free of human limitations, evolve its own understanding, and actually discover completely novel science. Section 3, the $1.1 billion bet. Because obviously moving a concept of this magnitude from academic theory to reality requires capital, like a lot of it. $1.1 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering seed funding that David Silver's new startup, Ineffable Intelligence, recently raised. This massive influx of cash gave the company an immediate valuation of $5.1 billion. To put that into perspective, this is an absolutely unprecedented scale for the European AI industry, especially for a seed round. It really shows that some of the deepest pockets in the entire tech world firmly believe the current LLM bubble might actually be distracting us from the true, fundamental path forward. And, the details behind this company are just as fascinating as the funding itself. Ineffable Intelligence is actively poaching top talent right out of Google DeepMind and other cutting-edge labs. Leading researchers are literally migrating over because they desperately want to work in an environment that is 100% dedicated to reinforcement learning, totally free from the pressure to build consumer chat products. Furthermore, Silver has made a pretty remarkable personal commitment. He's pledged that every single cent of his personal profits from this venture, which, let's be honest, could easily reach into the billions, will go to high-impact charities. He truly views building superintelligence as a massive world-altering responsibility that has to be done purely for the benefit of humanity, not for personal wealth.
Which leads us to Section 4, Simulation and Safety.
This brings up a really massive question. If we're building systems that actively teach themselves and will eventually exceed human understanding, how on earth do we keep them safe? Like, how do we take these self-learning algorithms out of closed, simple environments like a Go board and put them into our messy, complex reality? Well, instead of letting an unpredictable, self-teaching AI loose on the internet, Silver proposes a strict, rigorously controlled sandbox approach. First, you place the AI agents inside a highly complex simulation environment that is totally isolated from the real world. Second, you let them learn how to navigate that environment, achieve specific goals, and critically learn to cooperate with one another. Third, researchers carefully observe how these super smart agents behave toward entities of lower intelligence within that simulation. And finally, they verify that the AI's optimized solutions firmly align with human safety before they ever let it touch the real world.
This safety-first, simulated approach is actually a huge reason why top-tier investors are backing him. As Ravi Mehatre from Lightspeed Venture Partners points out, Silver's whole career proves that intelligence doesn't need human knowledge to grow. Mehatre actually grilled Silver extensively on the safety risks of an untethered system. And surprisingly, these investors have come to believe that relying less on biased, flawed human data might actually be a safer path to value alignment in the long run. Well, as long as that growth is guided by the rigorous simulation and testing protocols Ineffable Intelligence is building, of course.
Section 5. Encounter with Superintelligence. So, if the funding is there, the talent is there, and the safety protocols actually work, what is the ultimate endgame of this entire technological endeavor? David Silver doesn't view this as just building a better software tool to write your emails or fix your code. He uses a very specific, almost science fiction term for his mission: first contact. The goal of Ineffable Intelligence is literally to make first contact with a true superlearner. Because this entity is powered by reinforcement learning, it won't just summarize existing human knowledge or regurgitate what we've already done. It's going to look at the universe with completely fresh eyes. We're talking about an entity that will discover completely new forms of science, maybe curing diseases we don't even understand yet. It could design unprecedented technologies for clean energy, and even formulate entirely new, optimized systems for governance and economics that our human minds are simply incapable of designing. We are talking about an intelligence that could solve our most intractable problems.
As the tech world pours billions of dollars into the fossil fuels of language models, a quieter, incredibly well-funded revolution is betting on the endless renewable energy of self-taught AI. If David Silver is right, we aren't just approaching a new tech upgrade, we are approaching a historical threshold for our entire species. So I'll leave you with this. What will first contact with an intelligence that surpasses all human knowledge actually look like? And, more importantly, is humanity ready to meet it? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep exploring.